Today we're talking with Rachel Siminoski from Charlotte, North Carolina. Rachel was a resident at Main Street Arts last year in March, and we're just kind of catching up with her today and seeing what's been going on. So Rachel, first you want to tell people, remind them what you were working on when you were here doing your residency?
Yeah, so when I was up in New York, I was working on kind of a new body of work. I started a bunch of new paintings, and they were these like abstract enclosures, and I was kind of trying to think about them sequentially, which was something that I hadn't really done before. So that is kind of what I was working on for the most of my stay there.
Okay. And did that series then continue after the residency was over?
No, so it's kind of funny. So I got home and I ended up painting over everything that I had worked on during my residency.
Wow.
But it was helpful though, because it was one of those things. It was an idea that I had. What I was working on while I was at Main Street Arts was an idea that I had had for a long time, but I had never had time to try it. So then coming back, I realized that I don't think that it was something that was worth pursuing anymore. Like it just wasn't working. I know I sat with the paintings for a while and yeah, at one point just ended up painting over them. But I did, with those paintings, they did end up becoming a new body of work that I was really happy with. So that was good.
Yeah, and the work, at least that I've seen you post on Instagram, has, I mean, definitely, it seems like an extension of that body of work, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. And lately they've been changing a lot, or at least for me, I think a lot. Definitely exploring color more, which is something that I wasn't really doing while I was at Main Street Arts. Maybe a little, and of course my idea of colorful is still very muted to most. But yeah, they're definitely, the latest work is looser and kind of maybe more bodily than what I was doing before. I feel like the paintings I was making during my residency were more kind of like containers, and they're still enclosures, but I feel like they were more just these spaces. Whereas now they're more like functioning environments, whereas before they were just kind of empty holders. So that's kind of an interesting change from what I was making then. But yeah, definitely building on what I was doing.
And did you do, was there another residency that you did more recently? Was that?
Yeah. So I did. It was through Overland Artworks. It was totally web-based. It's called the Shelter Residency, which was just Grace, the founder of Overland Artworks, made it just for COVID-19 going on, because all these artists are stuck at home. So she wanted to provide an opportunity for artists to focus on their work in any kind of form that they want. So that was great. So I did kind of like a 48-hour residency. So I'm lucky enough that my studio is at home anyway. So in that regard, nothing really changed for me. But it was good because my fiance has 2 children of his own. And we ended up having them for 2 weeks. So I was able to squeeze in that residency right before they came. So I was able to like get some good solid studio time before my role kind of shifted into more of a caretaker with a 6-year-old running around.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. But yes, that was a great experience, and she's still accepting artists to do that. So I could send you guys information for that too.
Yeah,
if you're
yeah, that'd be great. Because what does that look like for, like, what did that look like for you as a resident?
So I was essentially just in the studio all day, which is something that I hadn't really been doing before, because being 6 months pregnant now, I'm finally feeling better. My first trimester, I was essentially not making work at all. I was really nauseous and wasn't able to work. So it was helpful for me to kind of get back into a routine. So I was working on one painting that I had started before I was pregnant, and trying to like make progress with that while also working on a few other pieces that I had started. But yeah, it was just good to kind of feel like committed to my practice again, because up until then, life had been so crazy that that wasn't my priority.
Right.
But yeah.
And I mean, this residency, the idea of doing something online, I mean, that's kind of a great example of people adapting to, you know, the current state of things.
Yeah.
Has the kind of, you know, being isolated and self-quarantine, as far as what you would normally be doing, has it had an effect on your paintings?
Yeah, so I hate to say that this situation has been beneficial, because obviously it's horrible and I wish that there were no virus. But in a way, it has been nice from a studio aspect, because I've been home and there's nowhere else for me to go. I can't go to work. So, you know, just that access, you know, 24-hour access to my studio, whereas normally I might be, you know, at work or just out doing other distractions that I don't have anymore. So in that sense, it's been nice for my studio practice, and also just leaning into making art as a distraction, just to take my mind off of what's been happening, and just have an outlet. Staying busy, I think, has been helpful for me.
Do you think that this time, you know, being you know, forced to stay inside, and how that has had an effect on your studio practice, do you think that that will kind of go forward, or do you see that making any bigger changes after that? I mean, it's hard to say at this point, I guess, but that's just what I was thinking, I guess.
Like the long-term impact of being stuck at home.
Yeah.
I definitely think it's given me a lot of time to think about the work and kind of reassess what I've been doing, especially since, you know, taking into account that I essentially took a 3-month break from making work. So I don't know. And then, you know, I think it's also helpful because I am going to have a baby soon, just to kind of cram in as much studio time as I can before he comes, because then, like Sarah said, you know, things will definitely be different and I won't have as much of an opportunity to do that. So hopefully this time being stuck inside will be helpful for my work later. Hopefully I'll feel more likely, or maybe more eager to get back in the studio, because I was so like involved while, like, you know, now while all this is happening. Right. Whereas maybe if this hadn't happened, I wouldn't have been able to get back into a rhythm.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to see my studio?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. Okay, let's see if I can do this. All right, well, I have 2 little paintings behind me, and then I don't know how well you guys can see anything.
Yeah, this is a good view.
Yeah, let's see. Oh, okay, cool. So that's kind of the working wall. I have some pictures of work by Lucy Mink, a painter that I've really been enjoying looking at. And then some of my own sketches. That smaller painting is one that I started, I think, over the summer, that I'm finally getting back to and changing a lot. And then I have this big kind of green painting hanging out over here. That was one that I worked on during my residency, my shelter residency recently. That's still not finished, but hopefully soon I'll finish it. And then this is my desk. So
nice.
Yeah, and then over here is a bunch of empty space, you know, a trash bin.
Yeah.
But soon the baby's crib will be here and a changing table. Oh, wow. So we have a 3-bedroom house, but we have a room that's like a guest room, and then a room for the kids when we have them on the weekends. And then we have my studio, and then Jeff and I's bedroom. And of course, people were like, "Are you going to change your studio into a nursery?" And I was like, "A baby doesn't need a whole room."
Right.
Kidding?
That's so true.
Yeah,
that's
true. That's ridiculous.
I like your thinking. Yeah, that's good.
But yeah, so like we have space in our bedroom for a bassinet and all that, but then we figure this will be half baby room, half my room.
Yeah.
So hopefully that also will help me be more productive.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. I think that's a great way to, you know, adapt, you know, this change in life right into your, you know, former life, you know, kind of merge them together. So
Yeah. Good to see you guys.
yeah, good to see you. And you know, we'll hope to see you again real soon.
Yeah.
And we'll definitely be following you
Yeah.
online and hearing the news about the baby and
Yeah.
meeting and everything else. So
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah. Congrats again.
yeah.
Thank you. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.